Increase does not cure mismanagement. Write that down. Increase does not cure mismanagement. Increase exposes it. Say it out loud. Increase exposes management. Now don't get quiet because we are talking about money in church. Take a deep breath. Money is not your enemy. Money is not evil. The Bible never said money is evil. It says the love of money, the lust for it, the appetite that worships it. That is where destruction begins. So your problem may not be money. Your problem may be management. Many people are praying for more, but they have never accounted for what they already received. They are asking God for increase, but heaven is asking, what did you do with the last increase? You want a bigger salary, but you cannot explain where the smaller one went. You want a business, but you don't manage your bedroom. You want property, but you waste groceries. You want overflow, but you have no order. And God is too wise to finance disorder. Here is the governing question for this teaching. Why would God increase what you keep mismanaging? Write it down. Why would God increase what you keep mismanaging? Not because he is angry, because he is righteous. God does not bless waste. God does not multiply confusion. God does not pour abundance into a life with no system, no restraint, no accountability, and no purpose. Before God increases your resources, he examines your capacity to manage what is already in your hands. Some of you are frustrated because you believe you have a provision problem. You keep saying, Lord, I need more money. But heaven may be saying, no, you need more discipline. You say, Lord, open the windows. God says, open your books. You say, Lord, rebuke the devourer. God says, stop inviting him through your habits. You see, sometimes the devourer is not a devil. Sometimes the devourer is your appetite. Sometimes the devourer is your lack of planning. Sometimes the devourer is buying what you cannot afford to impress people who are not assigned to your destiny. Don't look at me strange now. I'm trying to help you. If you get offended every time the word touches your wallet, then your wallet may be your altar. Money reveals ownership. Money reveals desire. Money reveals priority. Money reveals whether you believe you are an owner or a steward. The moment you think it is all yours, you become dangerous with it. Because ownership without accountability produces greed, waste, and disorder. Greed is not measured by how much you have. Greed is exposed by how you use what was trusted to you. A poor man can be greedy. A rich man can be greedy. A preacher can be greedy. A businessman can be greedy. Greed is when resources are captured by self instead of governed by purpose. Waste is when you despise what remains because you are addicted to what is next. Disorder is when money comes into your hand and has no assignment, so every appetite gives it instructions. This is why increase is dangerous to an undisciplined person. If you give more money to bad habits, you don't solve the problem, you enlarge the problem. If you give more money to a person with no budget, they become more confused. If you give more money to a person with no restraint, they become more enslaved. If you give more money to a person with no purpose, they become more distracted. Increase does not change character. Increase reveals character. So tonight we are not going to beg God to do what management is supposed to do. We are going to let the kingdom correct how we think. We are going to let the word inspect our spending, our saving, our giving, our waste, our desires, and our excuses. And if this teaching is already correcting how you see provision, stay with it. Subscribe for kingdom truth that forms managers, not beggars. And write in the comments, I will manage what God has already trusted to me. Because that is where increase begins. Not with more money, with more management, not with a miracle in your pocket, with discipline in your life. God is not looking for people who can shout over abundance and waste the crumbs. He is looking for people who can be faithful with less until less proves they're ready for more. Now the first the must prove is that you know who owns it. Write this down. Stewardship begins where ownership is surrendered. Until you settle ownership, you will mismanage money even when you are sincere. Because if you think it is yours, you will spend it according to your mood. If you know it belongs to God, you will manage it according to his purpose. Psalm 24:1 says, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Say fullness. That means everything in the earth that makes the earth valuable belongs to God. The land belongs to God. The gold belongs to God. The silver belongs to God. The job belongs to God. The opportunity belongs to God. The oxygen you used to go to work this morning belongs to God. So before you say, this is my money, heaven says, excuse me, let us correct the language. Your first financial error may not be spending. It may be speech. My money, my check, my house, my car, my business. And God says, really? When did you create the raw material? When did you command the earth to produce? When did you design the mind that thinks, the hands that work, the strength that labors, the favor that opens doors? You did not begin the supply. You entered into a trust. This is the kingdom foundation. In a kingdom, the king owns the territory, and everything in the territory, citizens do not own against the king. They steward under the king. That is why prosperity in the kingdom is not selfish accumulation. Prosperity is faithful administration of another's property. Let me say it again. Prosperity is not how much you can pile up for yourself. Prosperity is how accurately you manage what the owner assigned to you. A steward does not wake up first asking, how much do I want? A steward asks, what does the owner require? That question will save your life. Before you buy, ask, what does the owner require? Before you borrow, ask, what does the owner require? Before you upgrade, ask, what does the owner require? Before you give your money to appetite, entertainment, image, convenience, and impulse, stop and ask, what does the owner require? Owners consume carelessly. Stewards account carefully. Owners say, I can do what I want. Stewards say, I must give an account. Owners are driven by desire. Stewards are governed by assignment. Owners waste leftovers. Stewards preserve resources. Owners spend to feel powerful. Stewards manage to remain trustworthy. This is why some people can make more money and still be poor in spirit, poor in discipline, poor in order, because they increase ownership language but never develop stewardship thinking. Money becomes discipline when you stop treating it as personal property and start treating it as kingdom trust. That one sentence can change your finances. Money is not first for pleasure. Money is first for purpose. Pleasure is not evil, but pleasure without purpose becomes waste. Comfort is not evil, but comfort without stewardship becomes bondage. Enjoyment is not evil, but enjoyment without accountability becomes destruction. So when income comes into your hand, it should not meet confusion. It should meet government. It should meet a plan. It should meet tithe. It should meet giving. It should meet saving. It should meet bills. It should meet investment. It should meet discipline. Money should never arrive in your life and find your appetite sitting on the throne. Some of you have been rebuking the devil for a problem created by ownership. You spent the Lord's resources as if heaven had no claim, then asked heaven to rescue you from the consequences. Don't get quiet. I am not condemning you. I am correcting you. Correction is proof that God still sees capacity in you. He corrects stewards because he intends to trust them again. If the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, then your wallet is theological. Your bank account is theological. Your spending is theological. Your receipts are theological. Your financial decisions preach what you believe about God. If God only receives what is left after appetite is finished, your money is testifying against your mouth. You say, Lord, you are first, but your budget says, Lord, you are last. Write this down. Stewardship is ownership under accountability. You may possess it, but you do not originate it. You may use it, but you must answer for it. You may enjoy it, but you must not worship it. You may increase it, but you must not forget the owner. That is why the beginning of financial freedom is not more income. It is restored reverence. Reverence makes you ask different questions. Not can I afford it, but is it assigned? Not do I deserve it, but does it serve purpose? Not will people be impressed, but will the owner be pleased? And when that shift happens, money becomes calm. Money becomes ordered. Money stops running wild through your life because now it has a master higher than your desire. That is stewardship. That is kingdom. That is where discipline begins. Now, if you want to understand how God thinks about increase, you must go back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 2 verse 5. Write it down. This is not just a gardening verse. This is not just a creation verse. This is the first financial management law in the Bible. It says that no shrub of the field had yet appeared, And no plant of the field had yet sprung up, because the Lord God had not sent rain upon the earth, and there was no man to work the ground. Read that slowly. There was no man to work the ground. Not no seed, not no soil, not no potential, not no God. The problem was management. God had already created the system. God had already placed capacity in the earth. God had already built fruitfulness into the ground, but he refused to release growth until there was a manager present. That means the first thing God withheld in the Bible was not because of sin. Man had not sinned yet. There was no rebellion yet. There was no devil in the garden tempting anybody yet. But God still withheld growth. Why? Because there was no man to manage it. So divine withholding is not always punishment. Sometimes divine withholding is protection. Sometimes God holds back what you call blessing, because if he released it now, your life would turn it into bondage. Write this down. God does not release growth into environments where management is absent. Say it loud. God does not release growth into environments where management is absent. You can cry, you can pray, you can fast, you can shout, but if there is no management, God says, I will wait. He is not broke. He is not confused. Heaven is not in recession. The issue is not supply. The issue is capacity. Look at the verse again. God had the seed. God had the soil. God had the rain, but he waited for a manager. God had the seed. God had the soil. God had the rain, but he waited for a manager. God had the seed. God had the soil. God had the rain, but he waited for a manager. Don't miss that. Everything necessary for growth existed, but growth was delayed because stewardship was missing. The word work there is bigger than employment. It is not talking about just punching a clock. It is not just labor for wages. It carries the idea of serving, tending, cultivating, administrating, developing, arranging, bringing potential into productivity. Work is management. Work is converting raw material into fruitfulness. Work is taking what God created and organizing it until it produces what God intended. So when God says there was no man to work the ground, he is saying there is no one here who can administrate this potential. And God will not waste rain on unmanaged ground. He will not waste seed on neglected soil. He will not waste opportunity on a life with no structure. That is why some of you are not waiting on money. Money is waiting on management. You keep praying, Lord, send increase. God says, where will it go? You say, Lord, bless me. God says, show me the system. You say, Lord, I need overflow. God says, where are the containers? Because overflow without containers becomes a flood. More money with no budget is a flood. More clients with no administration is a flood. More opportunity with no discipline is a flood. More influence with no character is a flood. And floods destroy what rain was supposed to bless. This is why you must stop interpreting every delay as rejection. Sometimes God has not forgotten you. Sometimes your systems cannot sustain what you are requesting. You are asking for rain, but your ground is unworked. You are asking for harvest, but your records are confused. You are asking for promotion, but your time is unmanaged. You are asking for wealth, but your spending has no government. God is not against your increase. He is against your destruction. If God gave some people more money right now, they would become more enslaved. They would not tithe more. They would spend more. They would not save more. They would borrow bigger. They would not invest more. They would impress more. They would not serve purpose more. They would feed appetite more. So God in his mercy says, let me hold the rein until a manager stands up. Don't get quiet now. This is love talking. A father who gives a child everything the child demands is not loving. He is irresponsible. God is not irresponsible. He will not put kingdom resources into childish hands just because childish hands are loud in prayer. Noise does not prove maturity. Tears do not prove capacity. Desire does not prove stewardship. Management proves stewardship. So the question must change. Stop asking only, when will God increase me? Ask, what must I manage now? Manage the little salary. Manage the small apartment. Manage the groceries. Manage the debt. Manage the receipts. Manage the morning. Manage the evening. Manage the gift. Manage the relationship. Manage the ground you already have. Because the rain is not afraid to fall. The seed is not afraid to grow. God is looking for a man, a woman, a steward, a manager who can work the ground. Your frustration must become responsibility. That is maturity. Immaturity blames God for what it refuses to organize. Maturity says, Lord, show me the ground, show me the waste, show me the neglected place, show me the system I must build before I ask you for more. And when God sees management, he releases growth, because now the blessing has somewhere lawful to land. Now this is where religion becomes dangerous if it is not corrected by kingdom thinking, because some people use prayer to hide irresponsibility. They say, I am trusting God, but they have no budget. They say, I am believing for a breakthrough, but they have no record of where the last breakthrough went. They say God is going to make a way, but they keep spending money on things that are not assigned to purpose. Don't get quiet. Faith is not foolishness. Faith is confidence in God that produces obedience, not an excuse to avoid discipline. Write this down. Prayer cannot replace the system you refuse to build. Say it again. Prayer cannot replace the system you refuse to build. Prayer is powerful. Prayer invites God into your life. Prayer aligns your heart with heaven. Prayer brings wisdom, strength, conviction, direction, and grace. But prayer does not become a substitute for planning. Prayer does not become a substitute for accounting. Prayer does not become a substitute for saying no. Prayer does not become a substitute for paying your bills, reducing your debt, cutting your waste, and governing your appetite. Some of you are praying over money you already disobeyed with. You are asking God to multiply what you have not managed. You are asking God to cancel consequences while you keep the same habits that created them. That is not faith. That is presumption. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. If you sow disorder, don't rebuke the harvest. If you sow impulse, don't call the result an attack. If you sow waste, don't ask God why nothing remains. Here is the law. God will not give you only what you pray for. He gives you what you can manage. Prayer may reveal desire, but management reveals capacity. You can desire wealth and still be unqualified for increase. You can desire a house and still mismanage rent. You can desire a business and still mishandle your paycheck. You can desire promotion and still waste your evenings. Heaven listens to your prayer, but it also inspects your patterns. Jesus said in Luke chapter 16, he that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Read it again. Faithful in little, faithful in much. Unjust in little, unjust in much. That means little is not little. Little is an examination. Little is a classroom. Little is a test. Little is where God discovers whether much will destroy you or serve you. If you are dishonest with $10, more zeros only make your dishonesty expensive. If you waste small income, large income will only give your waste a bigger appetite. Then Jesus says, if you have not been faithful in unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? In other words, money is the kindergarten of kingdom responsibility. God watches how you treat the natural before he trusts you with the spiritual. He watches whether you can assign money before it arrives. He watches whether you can keep records. He watches whether you honor covenant. He watches whether you can delay pleasure for purpose. And this is the practical line you must write down. If your money has no assignment before it arrives, your appetite will assign it after it arrives. That is why you need a budget before payday, not after you are broke. You need a plan before the check clears, not after the money disappears. Every dollar should report to purpose. Tithe, giving, bills, debt reduction, savings, investment, household, learning, transportation. Give it a name. Give it an instruction. Give it a boundary. Money without assignment becomes a servant of desire. Now let me deal with miracles. Miracles are real. God heals. God provides. God intervenes. God opens doors no man can shut. But miracles are for crisis and divine intervention. They are not an excuse to live without order. If you need a miracle every month to survive, you may not need another miracle first. You may need management. A miracle can feed you in the wilderness, but it was never meant to replace wisdom in the promised land. Some people love miracles because miracles relieve them from responsibility. They want God to do suddenly what discipline was supposed to do gradually. They want heaven to erase debt while they keep feeding desire. They want supernatural provision while they refuse natural order. But kingdom citizens are not miracle addicts. They are managers. They pray, then they plan. They worship, then they work. They believe, then they budget. They ask, then they account. So stop using spiritual language to protect financial laziness. I am waiting on God. No, God may be waiting on your spreadsheet. I am believing for overflow. No, God may be waiting for you to stop wasting crumbs. I know my season is coming. No, your season may be waiting for your system. Because prayer invites God into your life, but management prepares your life to carry what God releases. Go home and build a system. Write the debts down. Write the income down. Write the spending down. Write the waste down. Stop hiding from numbers. Numbers are not demons. They are witnesses. They will tell you the truth if you are humble enough to look. And when prayer and management come together, you become dangerous in the right way. You become trustworthy. You become disciplined. You become a steward. God can increase. Now, let me expose something that hides very well in religious people. Greed. Write this down. Greed is the mismanagement of resources for personal benefit. Say it again. Greed is the mismanagement of resources for personal benefit. Greed is not first how much you possess. Greed is how you treat what you possess when you forget who owns it. Some people think greed is only the rich man with 3 houses, 5 cars, and a safe full of money. No. A man with $20 can be greedy if all 20 belongs to appetite and none reports to purpose. A woman with a closet full of clothes can be greedy, but so can the person who spends the rent money trying to look like she has a closet full of clothes. Don't look at your neighbor yet, because this one may be sitting in your own wallet. Greed is not only wanting more. Greed is using what belongs to God as though accountability does not exist. Greed says, this is mine. I can eat it, wear it, spend it, borrow against it, waste it, hide it, and nobody can ask me anything. That is not just financial disorder. That is rebellion with a receipt. Jesus said in Mark chapter 7 that greed comes from within. Not from the bank, not from the economy, not from your salary, from within. That means your financial disorder may not begin in your pocket. It may begin in your heart. The heart wants comfort without discipline. The heart wants image without integrity. The heart wants increase without accountability. So money becomes the servant of an undisciplined inner life. That is why Luke chapter 12 is so dangerous. A man had increase. His ground produced. He had more than enough. But listen to his language. My crops, my barns, my goods, my soul. Everything was mine. No God, no purpose, no poor, no future generation, no assignment, just accumulation. And God called him a fool, not because he had harvest, but because harvest had him. Write this down. Greed consumes, stewardship assigns. Greed hides, stewardship reports. Greed wastes, stewardship multiplies. Greed asks, how can this serve me? Stewardship asks, how can this serve the owner's purpose? Greed wants bigger bonds to protect selfishness. Stewardship wants better systems to multiply trust. Now examine your categories. Where has appetite been stronger than assignment? Food, clothes, subscriptions, status purchases, convenience spending, debt habits. Some of you don't have a money problem. You have a delivery problem. Everything comes to your house except discipline. Some of you are paying monthly for things you don't use, wearing things you didn't need, eating money you should have saved, and borrowing for status that nobody even remembers. Cancel what is not assigned. Stop feeding what is not fruitful. Stop calling it a little treat when it is training your appetite to rule you. Little by little works both ways. Little by little builds wealth, and little by little destroys it. So tonight, don't just ask God for more money. Ask him to expose greed in respectable clothing. Greed can wear church clothes. Greed can sing worship songs. Greed can say, I'm blessed, while wasting what God trusted. But stewardship is different. Stewardship tells the truth. Stewardship opens the records. Stewardship makes appetite bow. Stewardship says, Lord, everything you gave me must report back to you. And when greed is judged in the heart, order can begin in the house. Now let me show you Jesus as a manager, not just Jesus as miracle worker, Jesus as administrator. Because if you only see the miracle, you will shout and miss the system. John chapter 6 says, a great multitude followed him. And Jesus looked at the crowd and asked, where shall we buy bread that these may eat? Watch this. Before bread multiplied, resources were assessed. He did not begin with noise. He began with inventory. Write this down. Miracles do not cancel management. Miracles demand management. Jesus asked, what do we have? That is the first question of stewardship. Not what do we wish we had. Not what do others have. Not why do we have so little. He asked for an inventory. 5 loaves, 2 fish. That is all. But little becomes dangerous when it is placed under management. Little in the hand of appetite disappears. Little in the hand of a steward multiplies. Then Jesus did something many religious people ignore. He organized the people. The Bible says he commanded them to sit down in groups. Mark says they sat in ranks by hundreds and by 50s. That is administration. That is structure. That is order. Jesus did not throw bread into a crowd and call it faith. He did not let hunger create chaos. He arranged the environment before he released provision. Some of you want God to multiply money into disorder. You want increase, but your life has no rows, no ranks, no categories, no accounts, no structure. Jesus had thousands of hungry people in front of him, and before he fed them, he organized them. If Jesus organized a miracle, who do you think you are to live without a budget? Don't get quiet. Take a deep breath. This is the word. Then he blessed the bread. He gave thanks. He acknowledged the source. And then he delegated distribution. He gave it to the disciples, and the disciples gave it to the people. That means the miracle passed through a management chain. Source, steward, servant, people, order, accountability, distribution. Nobody was fighting. Nobody was grabbing. Nobody was hidden in confusion. The blessing flowed through structure. And the Bible says they all ate and were filled. Not some, all. The management was so effective that the miracle reached everybody it was assigned to reach. That is what stewardship does. Stewardship makes sure resources reach assignment. Greed diverts resources. Waste loses resources. Disorder confuses resources. But management delivers resources to purpose. Now here is where most people stop reading. They ate and were filled. Everybody is shouting now. Look at the miracle. But Jesus is not finished. After abundance, he gives a command. He says, gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. In our language, he said, pick up every crumb. Say it loud. Pick up every crumb. Say it again. Pick up every crumb. That is a kingdom law. Abundance is never permission to waste what remains. Jesus had just multiplied bread supernaturally, and still he would not allow crumbs to be wasted. The same Jesus who could create more bread commanded them to collect leftovers. Why? Because power does not excuse waste. Abundance does not excuse carelessness. Miracle does not excuse mismanagement. Some of you would have said, leave the crumbs. We just saw a miracle. Jesus said, no, pick them up. Some of you would have said, it is only fragments. Jesus said, that is why you are not ready for baskets. If you despise fragments, you cannot be trusted with fullness. If you waste crumbs, you are not ready to manage baskets. Watch the sequence. He assessed resources. He organized people. He blessed what was available. He delegated distribution. He fed everyone. Then he preserved what remained. That is management from beginning to end. The miracle did not make Jesus careless. The miracle increased his responsibility. The more God releases, the more accountable the steward becomes. This is why your crumbs matter. The change in your car matters. The food you throw away matters. The subscription you forgot about matters. The fees you keep paying because you will not read your statement matter. The small impulse purchases matter. The little upgrades matter. The daily waste matters. Small leaks destroy large futures. Ignored pennies become missing investments. Little by little works both ways. You say, it is only $5. But $5 every day is $35 a week. That is $140 a month. That is over $1,600 a year. Don't tell me crumbs don't matter. You are not broke because of one big thing only. Many times you are broke because of many small things that were never commanded to report. Pick up every crumb means check the receipts. Pick up every crumb means stop wasting food. Pick up every crumb means cancel what you don't use. Pick up every crumb means stop paying late fees. Pick up every crumb means stop buying convenience because you refuse preparation. Pick up every crumb means bring every remaining resource under assignment. And notice, when they picked up the fragments, they filled 12 baskets. Crumbs became baskets when they were gathered. You missed it. What looked insignificant became surplus under discipline. The fragments were not useless. They were uncollected. Some of your future is not absent. It is scattered. It is scattered in waste, scattered in impulse, scattered in laziness, scattered in disorganization, scattered in appetite. Go home and gather the fragments. Gather your time, gather your money, gather your receipts, gather your leftovers, gather your energy, gather your attention. Stop letting your future lie on the ground because you are too proud to bend down and pick up crumbs. If Jesus picked up fragments after feeding thousands, then your household has no permission to waste. Not because God is poor, because God is holy. Not because heaven lacks supply. Because stewardship requires honor. The person who honors crumbs is the person who qualifies for baskets. The person who governs what remains is the person God can trust with what is next. Now, the place where your crumbs are commanded to report is called a budget. Write this down. A budget is written management before emotional spending begins. Say it again. A budget is written management before emotional spending begins. If you wait until the money is in your hand to decide what to do with it, your emotions will become the treasurer. Your appetite will hold the meeting. Your desires will take the vote. And by the end of the week, your purpose will be sitting outside the door with no money. A budget is not punishment. A budget is government. A budget is not poverty. A budget is authority. A budget does not mean you have no money. A budget means your money has leadership. The reason some people hate budgets is because a budget exposes rebellion. It tells you, you said God was first, but your statement says restaurants were first. You said family was important, but your receipts say impulse was important. You said you wanted freedom, but your debt says image was important. Don't get quiet now. Your budget is a spiritual document. Yes, spiritual. Because Jesus said where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. That means your spending is a map of your heart. You don't need to argue with me about what you love. Show me your calendar and show me your bank statement. They will preach your real sermon. They will tell us what you honor, what you fear, what you worship, what you avoid, and what you are becoming. Every dollar needs a name, an assignment, and a destination before it enters your hand, not after. Before, if money arrives without instruction, desire will recruit it. You must tell money you are tithe, you are rent, you are groceries, you are savings, you are debt reduction, you are investment, you are education, you are transportation, you are generosity. You are not available for foolishness. Money must hear your purpose before your appetite speaks. This is why tithing is not just giving. Tithing is trust training. It trains your soul to acknowledge ownership. God first, purpose second, appetite last. Say that. God first, purpose second, appetite last. If appetite is first, God gets leftovers. If God is first, appetite must learn discipline. The tithe confronts the lie that everything in your hand belongs to you. It says, before I consume, I honor. Before I enjoy, I acknowledge. Before I spend, I remember the owner. And generosity trains you beyond obligation. Tithing teaches trust. Giving teaches love. Generosity teaches you that money is not your master. When you can release money for kingdom purpose, for the poor, for service, for someone else's need, you are declaring, I am a steward, not a slave. But don't give emotionally and then neglect responsibility. Kingdom generosity does not create disorder. It flows from management. Now listen carefully. Your budget needs categories: giving, taxes, essentials, debt repayment, savings, investment, education, discretionary spending. Write them down. Giving, because God must be honored. Taxes, because legal obligations must be prepared for. Essentials, because your household must function. Debt repayment because bondage must be broken. Savings because emergencies should not always become crises. Investment because seed must be planted for the future. Education because your mind is an asset. Discretionary spending because enjoyment is lawful when appetite is governed. But discretionary must come last, not first. Some of you pay entertainment before electricity. You pay fashion before debt. You pay convenience before savings. You pay strangers before covenant. Then you ask God why you are under pressure. Pressure is not always persecution. Sometimes pressure is poor order squeezing your life. Proverbs says the plans of the diligent lead to profit, but haste leads to lack. Haste, impulse. No plan, no waiting, no asking, no counting, just swiping, just clicking, just buying, just saying, I deserve this. Be careful with that sentence. I deserve this has stolen many futures. You may deserve rest, but you do not deserve bondage. You may deserve dignity, but you do not deserve debt. You may deserve enjoyment, but you do not deserve chaos. Here is your assignment. Audit 30 days of spending, not with condemnation, with honesty. Condemnation makes you hide. Honesty makes you free. Get the bank statement. Get the receipts. Get the credit card record. Get the cash withdrawals. Sit down and ask every dollar where it went. Food, fees, fuel, subscriptions, clothes, debt, giving, savings, waste. Don't lie. Don't spiritualize it. Don't blame the devil for what your thumb ordered at midnight. 30 days will tell you the truth. You will discover leaks. You will discover patterns. You will discover emotional spending. You will discover that tiredness has a cost. Disorganization has a cost. Loneliness has a cost. Image has a cost. And poor planning has a cost. This is not to shame you. This is to give you government again. If you cannot track it, you cannot govern it. Say it. If you cannot track it, you cannot govern it. And if you cannot govern it, do not ask God to increase it. Because increase without tracking becomes confusion. Increase without government becomes waste. Increase without purpose becomes greed. God is not interested in financing your disorder. He is looking for stewards who can give an account. So before you ask for another raise, manage this paycheck. Before you ask for a bigger house, manage this apartment. Before you ask for business capital, manage this salary. Before you ask for overflow, show God where the last flow went. A budget reveals whether money is governed by purpose or captured by appetite. And when purpose governs money, peace begins to return, debt begins to bow, waste begins to disappear, and your resources begin to line up for assignment. Now, when your resources begin to line up for assignment, you must learn another kingdom word: economize. Write it down. Economize. To economize means to get the maximum out of the minimum without lowering your purpose. It does not mean become cheap. It does not mean live ugly. It does not mean punish your family. It means you refuse to let waste eat what wisdom could multiply. Economizing is management intelligence. It is the ability to say, how can I fulfill this purpose with less waste, less ego, less leakage, and more discipline? Poor people often think economizing is embarrassment. Wealthy people know economizing is strategy. That is why some people with little become owners and some people with much become beggars. The difference is not always income. The difference is management. Proverbs says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Read it carefully. Plans, diligent, surely, abundance, hasty, poverty. That means abundance is usually not an accident. It is connected to planning and diligence. Poverty is often connected to haste, quick decisions, emotional purchases, unplanned spending, no waiting, no counting, no comparing, no asking, is this assigned? Proverbs also says, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Say that, little by little. Say it again, little by little. God put increase in small increments. You are looking for a big miracle, but God may be looking at the little amounts you keep despising. You say, it is only a few dollars. That sentence is why it keeps leaving you. Poverty ignores small amounts. Wealth respects small amounts. Don't get quiet. I am trying to save your future. The enemy does not need to steal your whole paycheck if he can train you to leak it $5 at a time. A little convenience here, a little impulse there, a little subscription you forgot, a little fee because you paid late, a little extra because you did not plan, a little image purchase because you wanted people to think you were doing better than you are. Little by little, bondage grows. Little by little, debt grows. Little by little, stress grows. But the same law can work for you. Little by little, savings grows. Little by little, debt dies. Little by little, investments begin. Little by little, emergency money appears. Little by little, peace returns. The law is neutral. It will build whatever you feed. If you feed waste, waste multiplies. If you feed discipline, discipline multiplies. Let me give you simple mathematics. If you waste $7 a day, that is $49 a week. That is about $210 a month. That is over $2,500 a year. Don't tell me you cannot save. You may be eating your savings. You may be drinking your emergency fund. You may be wearing your debt payment. You may be subscribing to your investment capital. $10 a day is $300 a month. $300 a month can attack a credit card. $300 a month can build an emergency account. $300 a month can become seed for training, tools, business registration, or investment. But if you don't govern it, it becomes snacks, apps, upgrades, delivery fees, and receipts you don't want to look at. Some of you don't need more money first. You need to stop letting your lifestyle leak. Convenience is expensive. Disorganization is expensive. Image is expensive. Laziness is expensive. You buy lunch every day because you will not prepare food. You pay late fees because you will not open mail. You keep memberships because you will not cancel them. You buy clothes for events because you need approval. Then you call it living. No, that is unmanaged appetite. Economizing. Ask questions. Do I need this now? Is there a wiser way? Can I repair instead of replace? Can I cook instead of order? Can I plan instead of panic? Can I wait instead of swipe? Can I use what I already have? Can this money be redirected to purpose? These questions are not punishment, they are government. Sacrifice is not deprivation when purpose is clear. Write that down. Sacrifice is not deprivation when purpose is clear. If you stop buying something useless so you can pay off debt, you are not depriving yourself. You are assigning your resources to freedom. If you drive the same car longer so you can build savings, you are not falling behind. You are assigning your resources to stability. If you wear what you have and stop impressing people, you are not losing dignity. You are assigning your resources to destiny. This is how stewards think. A steward does not ask, can I afford the payment? A steward asks, is this the assignment? A steward does not ask, will people like it? A steward asks, will this multiply trust? A steward does not ask, do I deserve it? A steward asks, does purpose require it? Proverbs says, the hand of the diligent makes rich. Not the hand of the lucky, not the hand of the emotional, not the hand of the impulsive, the diligent hand. Diligence means consistent attention. Diligence means you keep showing up in order when nobody claps. Diligence means you respect pennies, receipts, dates, balances, habits, and small decisions. So go home and economize. Look at your food, look at your phone, look at your subscriptions, look at your transportation, look at your entertainment, look at your closet, look at your habits. Find the money hiding in waste. There is wealth trapped in mismanagement. There is freedom trapped in discipline you have not practiced yet. And when you start gathering little by little, don't despise the beginning. $5 saved is not small. It is proof that appetite is losing power. $20 toward debt is not small. It is proof that bondage is being confronted. One cancer subscription is not small. It is proof that your money is getting leadership. Wealth is often hidden inside the small amounts an undisciplined person keeps wasting. Pick them up, assign them, govern them, multiply them. Little by little becomes more than enough when a faithful steward refuses to let purpose bleed through careless living. Now let me take this principle from your wallet to your clock, because money is not the only thing God watches. Time is a resource. Write that down. Time is a resource. And mismanaged time eventually becomes mismanaged money. Some of you are asking God to increase your income, but He is watching what you do with your evenings. He is watching what you do with your mornings. He is watching what you do after work, before work, on weekends, in the hidden hours when nobody is paying you and nobody is supervising you. You say, I need more money. God says, show me your calendar. You say, I need opportunity. God says, show me your discipline. You say, I need a door to open. God says, what did you build while the door was closed? Don't get quiet. This is where many people lose their future, not because they lack potential, but because they waste the time where potential was supposed to be developed. From 9 to 5, you may be employed, but from 5 to 12, you are deployed. Say that. From 9 to 5, I am employed, but from 5 to 12, I am deployed. Your job may pay your bills, but your deployment builds your capacity. Your employer can rent your hours, but your destiny must govern your life. If all you do after work is collapse into entertainment, scroll through other people's lives, complain about your boss, criticize successful people, and feed your appetite, then do not be surprised when your income stays trapped at the level of your preparation. New income often comes from developed capacity. Capacity is not built by wishing. Capacity is built in disciplined time. You become valuable when you invest hidden hours in skills, wisdom, systems, relationships, and problem solving. You learn the software. You study the industry. You read the book. You take the course. You build the plan. You organize the business idea. You serve under somebody who knows more than you. You ask better questions. You practice. You prepare. Proverbs says the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. Diligent, not casual, not bored, not distracted. Diligent. Diligence means you treat time like seed. You don't throw it anywhere. You plant it where it can produce. 1 hour a night in study can change your mind. 1 hour a night in planning can change your household. 1 hour a night building a skill can change your income. 1 hour a night solving a problem can become a business. But 1 hour a night wasted becomes years of excuses. Some of you say, I don't have time. No, you don't have management. Everybody has 24 hours. The rich man has 24. The poor man has 24. The educated has 24. The uneducated has 24. The difference is not always the amount of time. The difference is the government of time. Where there is no government, time becomes entertainment, gossip, sleep, scrolling, delay, and complaint. Let me ask you something. What are you doing from 5 to 12? Are you learning or just watching? Are you building or just talking? Are you serving or just criticizing? Are you planning or just worrying? Are you studying people who solve problems? Or are you arguing with people who have none of the answers? Your after hours habits are prophecy. They are telling you where your life is going. If you want God to increase your money, first prove that you can manage your time, because money follows capacity and capacity follows discipline. God can send opportunity, but if you have not prepared, opportunity will embarrass you. God can introduce you to the right people, but if you have not developed wisdom, you will not know what to say. God can give you an idea, but if you have not built order, the idea will die in your notebook. Your time also has a tithe. I am not talking only about church attendance. I am talking about sacred, disciplined, intentional time given back to purpose. If God gave you the day, where is the portion that says, Lord, I am using this to become more trustworthy? Where is the portion for prayer? Where is the portion for thinking? Where is the portion for study? Where is the portion for planning? Where is the portion for serving? Where is the portion for building capacity for the assignment you placed in me? Stop giving your best mind to your employer and your tired leftovers to your destiny. Rest is important, but laziness is not rest. Recreation is lawful, but escape is not purpose. Enjoyment has its place, but entertainment must not become your master. When entertainment consumes all your hidden hours, it becomes a thief with a remote control. God increases managers who prepare in private. David killed lions and bears before he faced Goliath. Joseph interpreted dreams in prison before he managed Egypt. Jesus spent years in preparation before public ministry. Hidden discipline always comes before visible responsibility. God will not put you on a stage that your private life cannot sustain. So go home and audit your evenings, audit your mornings, audit your weekends, ask your time where it went. 2 hours scrolling, 3 hours watching, 1 hour complaining, 30 minutes worrying. No time praying, no time studying, no time building, no time planning. Then you say, God, increase me. Increase what? The disorder? The distraction, the excuses? No. Bring your time under management. Put learning on the calendar. Put planning on the calendar. Put rest on the calendar. Put family on the calendar. Put service on the calendar. Put skill development on the calendar. Put your future on the calendar. Time without assignment will always be captured by appetite. And when God sees you governing hidden hours, he can trust you with visible responsibility. When he sees you preparing when nobody is watching, he can expose you when people are ready. When he sees you faithful with evenings, he can trust you with opportunities. Because the person who manages time has already begun managing increase before the money arrives. Now listen carefully. Because debt is where desire collects interest. Write that down. Debt is often future money captured by past appetite. You already spent tomorrow, and now tomorrow is sending you a bill. You already ate it, wore it, drove it, clicked it, upgraded it, financed it, and now your future is working for your yesterday. Debt is not always the same thing. You must understand this. There is strategic debt and there is destructive debt. Strategic debt is connected to production, ownership, education, or assets that can increase capacity when managed wisely. Destructive debt is appetite with a payment plan. Destructive debt buys what loses value to impress people who cannot fund your purpose. Don't get quiet now. Some of you are paying interest on emotions you had 6 months ago. You bought the shoes, but they did not build your future. You bought the phone, but it did not increase your wisdom. You bought the car to look successful, but now the payment is choking your peace. You bought furniture for people who visited one time. You took vacations from a life you never organized. Now you say, I am believing God for freedom. God says, first stop borrowing bondage. Matthew 6:24 says, no man can serve two masters. You cannot serve God and mammon. That means money has the capacity to become a master. Money is a good servant, but a terrible Lord. When desire is not disciplined, money starts giving instructions. Debt tells you where to work. Debt tells you when to sleep. Debt tells you what you cannot give. Debt tells you what you cannot save. Debt tells you what opportunity you cannot take. That is mastery. Financial freedom begins when desire submits to purpose before money leaves your hand. Say it. Desire must submit before money leaves, not after. After is too late. After is regret. After is interest. After is minimum payments. After is stress. Before you swipe, purpose must speak. Before you sign, purpose must speak. Before you borrow, purpose must speak. If purpose is silent, appetite will preach. Saying no is not poverty. Saying no is management. Saying no is not lack. Saying no is leadership. Saying no means your future has a voice louder than your craving. Some of you need to practice this word in the mirror. No, say it again. No. No to unnecessary payments. No to image. No to pressure. No to comparison. No to people who want you to look rich while you remain bound. No is a kingdom management skill. The world has trained you to measure yourself by what depreciates. Cars depreciate, clothes depreciate, devices depreciate, furniture depreciates, trends depreciate, but wisdom appreciates, land appreciates, skills appreciate, character appreciates, discipline appreciates, ownership appreciates. You are spending appreciating potential on depreciating things. That is not style. That is mismanagement, wearing nice clothes. And be careful with comparison. Comparison is expensive. You saw somebody else buy it and you did not know their income. You saw somebody else wear it and you did not know their debt. You saw somebody else travel and you did not know their household. Never let another person's picture become your financial instruction. They cannot pay your bills. They cannot fund your assignment. They cannot explain your bondage to God. Proverbs says, the borrower is servant to the lender. Read it slowly. Servant That means debt can reduce authority. Every unnecessary debt assigns part of your labor to somebody else before you even receive your paycheck. You worked all week, and when the money arrives, it is already promised. The lender gets paid, the credit card gets paid, the store gets paid, the appetite from last year gets paid. Then purpose stands there waiting. Now here is your assignment. Go home and list every debt, everyone. Do not hide from the numbers. Hiding does not cancel debt. Shame does not cancel debt. Prayer without truth does not cancel debt. Write down the name, the balance, the interest, the minimum payment, and the due date. Put the whole thing in front of you. You cannot conquer what you refuse to count. Then stop unnecessary borrowing. Stop creating new chains while asking God to break old ones. Stop using credit to maintain an image. Stop financing convenience. Stop borrowing because you are tired of discipline. If you keep digging while praying to get out of the hole, you are not spiritual. You are confused. Then attack one obligation at a time. Choose a debt. Pay the minimums on the rest, but put extra strength on one. When that one dies, take its payment, attack the next one, then the next one, then the next one. This is management. This is war. You are not just paying bills. You are recovering authority over your future. And when money is freed, do not let appetite capture it again. Redirect it. Savings, emergency fund, investment, ownership, education, seed, purpose. When a debt payment disappears, give that money a new assignment immediately. If you do not assign freed money, desire will celebrate and waste it. God is not against you enjoying life, but enjoyment without government becomes bondage. Desire must bow to purpose. Appetite must wait its turn. Money must serve assignment. And when God sees you saying no to bondage, no to waste, no to image, and yes to discipline, yes to order, yes to ownership, he sees a steward becoming free enough to be trusted with more. Now, when God can trust you with more, you must understand why he gives more. Increase is not just for comfort. Write that down. Increase is responsibility. The problem with many people is that they want prosperity to improve their lifestyle, but God wants prosperity to improve their assignment. You want bigger so you can consume more. God wants bigger so you can carry more. There comes a point where you must stop thinking only about survival. Survival says, can I pay my bills? Legacy says, what will still be speaking after I am gone? Survival says, can I make it through this month? Legacy says, can my children's children stand on what I managed? Don't get quiet now. Some of you have made survival your permanent address. God did not create you only to escape pressure. He created you to establish something that outlives you. Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Read it slowly. A good man leaves. That means goodness is not only measured by how you shout, how you sing, how you dress for church, or how many scriptures you quote. Goodness is measured by what you leave. A good person does not just live blessed. A good person manages blessing until it becomes transferable. And notice, it does not say he leaves an inheritance only to his children. It says to his children's children. That means kingdom thinking is generational. God is not impressed by wealth that dies with your appetite. God is not impressed by income that was eaten, worn, financed, and wasted. God is looking for stewards who think beyond themselves. Abraham thought in generations. David thought in generations. Joseph saved a nation through management. Jesus built disciples who could carry the mission after he returned to the Father. Kingdom people think past their own comfort. So stop measuring wealth only by income. Income is what comes in. Wealth is what remains under wise management. Income can make you look successful while you are still poor in assets. Income can feed your image while your future is empty. You can have a large salary and no ownership, no savings, no investment, no land, no business, no tools, no wisdom transferred, and no system for the next generation. That is not wealth. That is expensive survival. Kingdom prosperity moves from consumption to ownership. Say that. From consumption to ownership. You must begin to ask, what am I building? What am I buying that can produce? What am I owning that can appreciate? What am I learning that can be transferred? What system am I leaving behind? Land, business, education, tools, skills, books, accounts, property, wisdom. These are legacy instruments. They are not just things. They are containers of responsibility. Some of you need to change your financial question. Stop asking only, can I afford it? Ask, will this help me leave something? Stop asking, will this make me feel better today? Ask, will this make my family stronger tomorrow? Stop asking, will people be impressed? Ask, will my children be instructed? Because your spending is teaching. Your saving is teaching. Your debt is teaching. Your discipline is teaching. Your disorder is teaching. Your children may not listen to every sermon you speak, but they will study the life you managed. Inheritance is not only money. Money without wisdom is a curse in the hands of an undisciplined child. You can leave money to a person who has no character, and they will turn your sacrifice into entertainment. So inheritance includes systems. It includes values. It includes financial literacy. It includes a work ethic. It includes the fear of God. It includes respect for ownership. It includes knowing how to budget, how to save, how to give, how to invest, how to say no, how to delay pleasure, how to govern appetite. If you leave your children money but never teach them management, you left them danger. If you leave them property but no discipline, you left them a fight. If you leave them a business but no character, you left them a collapse waiting for a date. Legacy is not just what is transferred. Legacy is the capacity to manage what is transferred. This is why your discipline today matters. That no you say today may become your family's freedom tomorrow. That debt you refuse today may become your child's opportunity tomorrow. That waste you cancel today may become seed for education tomorrow. That property you buy today may become shelter and strength for another generation. That business you build today may employ sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, and strangers you will never meet. Don't despise small beginnings. Legacy often begins with one disciplined decision, one account opened, one debt attacked, one skill learned, one piece of land pursued, one business plan written, one child taught how money works, one family meeting where truth replaces secrecy, little by little, line upon line, precept upon precept. This is how families are rebuilt. And hear me carefully. You cannot leave what you keep consuming. You cannot transfer what appetite keeps eating. You cannot build generational strength with daily disorder. If every increase becomes an upgrade, legacy will remain a dream. If every raise becomes a new payment, your children inherit stories but not strength. If every blessing becomes personal luxury, then you have misunderstood why God trusted you. Godly increase is not merely for personal comfort. It is for generational responsibility. God wants to raise managers who can multiply resources, wisdom, and righteousness beyond their own lifetime. He wants stewards who can say, my life will not end with bills paid. My life will end with foundations laid. So begin now. Manage what is in your hand as if your grandchildren are watching, because in a way they are. Your discipline is already traveling into the future. Your decisions are already preparing either a burden or a blessing. Choose blessing. Choose order. Choose ownership. Choose wisdom. And when God sees that you are no longer living only for appetite, but for assignment and generations, He can trust you with increase that carries His purpose beyond your name. So here is the final question. Why would God increase what you keep mismanaging? Don't answer too quickly. Let it sit on your spirit. Why would He put more water in a broken bucket? Why would He pour increase into disorder? Why would He send abundance to an appetite that has not learned government? The crumb test comes before the basket test. If you cannot manage the crumbs, you are not ready for the baskets. We have walked the whole road. God owns everything. You are not the owner. You are the steward. Stewardship regulates provision. Management precedes increase. Discipline defeats waste. Purpose governs desire. Time must be managed before money can be multiplied. Debt must bow to freedom, and legacy proves maturity. A mature person does not only ask, what can I get? A mature person asks, what can God trust me to carry? Write this down. God can trust more to the person who becomes faithful, disciplined, and accountable with less. Not emotional with less. Not complaining with less. Not blaming with less. Faithful with less. Disciplined with less. Accountable with less. Heaven is not impressed by your request if your habits are contradicting your prayer. Jesus fed thousands, and then he said, pick up what remains. That means even after a miracle, management still matters. Abundance did not cancel order. Overflow did not excuse waste. The Son of God looked at crumbs and said, don't lose that. So who taught you that small things don't matter? Who taught you that $5 don't matter? Who taught you that 1 hour doesn't matter? Who taught you that one receipt, one subscription, one debt, one habit doesn't matter? Crumbs become baskets when a manager touches them. So I want to give you a 7-day challenge. 7 days, not 7 years, 7 days. Track every expense, every one. If you buy coffee, write it down. If you pay a bill, write it down. If you send money, write it down. If you waste money, write it down. Don't hide from your own behavior. Truth is the beginning of freedom. Then assign every dollar before it leaves your hand. Give it a name: tithe, saving, debt, food, transportation, investment, family, emergency, purpose. Money without assignment becomes money under appetite. Every dollar must know where it is going before desire starts talking. Then clean up one wasteful habit, just one. Cancel one unnecessary drain. Stop one leak. Pack one lunch. Remove one subscription. Delay one purchase. Refuse one impulse. Don't try to impress God with drama. Impress heaven with consistency. Little by little makes it grow. Honor God first, not last. Not if anything remains, first. Because first reveals lordship. First reveals trust. First reveals whether money is your master or your servant. When you honor God first, you are training your heart to remember ownership. This is not just giving, this is government. And every night for 7 nights, review your financial decisions. Sit down and ask, was I a steward today or a consumer? Did I obey purpose or appetite? Did I waste crumbs? Did I prepare baskets? Did I manage what God trusted to me? That nightly review will preach to you. Your receipts will preach. Your bank account will preach. Your calendar will preach. And if you listen, wisdom will start building a new person inside you. You are not merely a consumer asking for more. Say it. I am not merely a consumer asking for more. You are a kingdom manager preparing for trust. You are a steward. You are a governor of resources. You are a builder of legacy. You are a protector of seed. You are a person who can tell money where to go because purpose has already told you where you are going. Financial frustration can become freedom when it becomes discipline. The same money that embarrassed you can begin to serve you. The same income that disappeared can begin to build. The same small amount you despise can become seed. The same life that felt bound can become ordered. But you must choose management. You must choose ownership. You must choose wisdom. You must choose the future over appetite. So pick up the crumbs, pick up the time, pick up the budget, pick up the receipts, pick up the responsibility. Stop waiting for more before you become faithful. Become faithful and more will know where to land. And if this word corrected your thinking, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who is ready to become a better steward. Comment the truth you are choosing to live by. I am disciplining what God has trusted to me. Say it until your habits believe it. Live it until your children can see it. Manage it until God can trust you with more.